Hello, and thank you for joining Two Girls and a Book. I am super excited to be with you guys tonight. I have a little bit of a new setup in my office with my lighting and my camera, and for some reason, I'm very red tonight. So before I get messages later on asking what I did to my hair and what my new color is, it's all lies. It's all lies. It's still brown with blonde highlights. I don't know what's happening with the lighting. I've adjusted the ring light repeatedly, but for some reason, for tonight's episode, I'm going to be auburn. So I am very excited for tonight's guest. Unless you have been living under a rock since August, you have heard me talk about The Girl at the Hanging Tree by Mary Gray in almost every single episode that I have put on Facebook. This book really spoke to me. It is unlike anything that I normally read. I am such a paranormal, supernatural kind of gal, and this was completely left field for me. I am so happy that I read this book. It touched on so many topics, and I found it very relatable, and it was just a thrilling page turner from the very beginning to the shocking end. So without further ado, we are going to have the author Mary Gray join us. Hello, thank you so much for being with me tonight. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited. I love this book, and hopefully Saturday I will be doing an unboxing on here as well, because yay, I won one.
Yes.
Always a plus. This book is just amazing. I can't say enough good things about The Girl at the Hanging Tree. Crystal and I both read it. We got early copies of it and read it for the blog. And we have just been talking about it nonstop since then. It really resonated. It was something that I talked about in other book groups and with other random readers when they asked me, hey, what do you recommend that I pick up? And it's not often that a book really sticks the way that this one did. So why don't you tell people who've been living under a rock and not listening to me exactly what The Girl at the Hanging Tree is about?
Well, first off, they need to stop living under a rock and start listening to you if that's the case, because you have...
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's about a woman with two personalities who, okay, I get nervous, who discovers her husband is missing, and then she is soon accused of his murder while being watched by a small town secret society.
And that's putting it mildly and in a tight little nutshell. There are so many complex layers to this story. What made you want to write it, and how did you prepare yourself to write this story?
So last year about this time, I had just finished with The Ripper of Monkshood Manor, and I thought, okay, I need a new book to write. I always want, the goal, right, is to sell more books, right? And so I was researching genres that sell well, and always top genres like romance. And I don't know how to write a straight romance. I always have to have death and murder, right? So second below that is thriller. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm more, my first book, The Dollhouse Asylum, definitely has a thriller vibe. And then I had a friend, Vanessa Eccles. She used to be my literary agent, actually. And I called her one day and I was like, hey, what should I tackle next? What do you think I should do? And she's like, go older. You've done, because I've always written young adult. And she said, you can do older, like, and even more serious, like go deeper. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I can write young adult, but I'll try. And so I was like, okay, thriller, what kind of thrillers do I like? And I always love that psychological element, the deep thinking, just kind of a brooding tale. And a lot of times like a woman protagonist, something like, Gone Girl, The Girl on the Train. But a lot of those books, have a lot of content that I don't agree with and doesn't fit with our edgy, clean brand, and that I wouldn't want to write. And I always want to have good messages. So I turned to my friend Tony, who lives nearby, and I was like, hey, Tony, I need something to write. Why don't you just take me around locally and show me some sites? And she's like, oh, do I have stuff for you? And I was a little bit nervous because she had talked about one of these sites for a while, and I swore I would never go. I guess should I say the one that's the big spoiler? I don't know. Yeah. So she said, well, we need to go see the KKK house close by. And I was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. That just is horrible and wrong. And it's like the old, where they used to meet, supposedly. She's like, well, there's these other places. There's a cemetery, an old Victorian mansion that's just beautiful, that's derelict, and you got to see that. And this beautiful bridge called Goatman's Bridge. And there was, and some hanging trees that so all these places are within, I don't know, 40, 50 miles of each other. And she's like, let's go see it. And then I'm thinking, how can I write a story tying in all these aspects? But okay. So we go and we see these places. And actually, Goatman's Bridge was the first place we went to. And we went during the day. And there's actually tours offered there really late at night, midnight tours. And I'm not that brave or that much of a night owl to go that late. So we went during the day, me and some other friends. And it's this beautiful bridge. People take senior pictures there. I just love it. I had some footage of it that we shared on the Monster Ivy feed. And
yeah, that was gorgeous.
Right? It's a really pretty.
And then I looked it up. I Googled it after the fact, and it just really is so visually stunning. And the fact that they used it until just recently surprised me. And the backstory to it as well, how it got its name and everything was really fascinating.
Yeah. So in the 30s, there was an African-American goat farmer who was very successful. And his neighbors were jealous of that success. And some of those neighbors were members of the KKK. And they captured him and strung him up and killed him. Supposedly his body disappeared. Nobody knew right after they hung him what happened. And then they went and they killed his wife and his kids. They burned down the house. And like that whole area feels very eerie. It's very, very horrible story. And so I'm like, okay, now there's two stories about the KKK, because later we saw this house, and it was a house built in the 30s, very run down, really tall grass, this eerie, like totem pole type tree, very weird, and really weird crates on the grounds. And, it was two friends and I who stood there, and we didn't walk around the property or anything. We just were on the road. And again, just a really bad feeling there. And to think of the things that these people stand for, it's just chilling and horrible. And while I don't personally know anybody who's a member, the idea that, that's just, a few miles down the road in a community where I live, and I live in a community with a lot of really good people. And so I'm not like, that was one of my fears sharing the story, is like, me talking about a small town, and I'm not like out to say everybody's evil or anything like that. Not at all. The idea is to raise awareness that this sort of thing has happened in the past, and then those types of beliefs and ideals are passed on. And we hope that we are growing out of that and, totally pushing aside those beliefs. So anyway, I saw those sites, and then the hanging trees were really interesting because there were these metal brackets on the trees themselves, and they were in front of a funeral home that used to be an old church. And then parts of the trees had actually like grown over the metal brackets, almost hiding what they were. And the horrible truth that people were hung from those trees.
I have chills.
Yeah. And it was, and and there were a bunch of us who saw those trees, and my friend's baby was in the car. And then right when we got there, the baby started crying, and she was good the whole time, and she was, she's a happy kid, but I think it's just, again, a very dark, sad reality in our history. So saw those sites, and then, there's the racism side of the book, and then there is the multi-personality side of the book. And I've researched, it's called dissociative identity disorder. And that disorder in the past has been known as multiple personality disorder, but the true name is dissociative identity disorder. And people with that disorder are often abused as children, and they will dissociate from those experiences to be able to function. And I thought, being a psychological thriller, if I want to write a psychological thriller tying in all these things, what if I had a woman with two personalities? And then I had a thought, holy crap, what if her husband was somehow involved with the KKK and she didn't know, and then something happened to him and she didn't know like what the deal was? That would just, can you imagine if you found that out about your husband? Horrible. Yeah.
Yes.
So you get into the story, and then there are hints along the way, and she recalls her memories because at the very beginning she has amnesia and she has her alter. And that's something that I've learned about dissociative identity disorder. The people who have that mental illness, when they talk about another personality that they have, they call it an alter. And so I wanted to credit that community and speak in a way that they could relate. And I learned that to just call them an alter. So that's what I did in the book too.
It's an amazing book, and I think you handled the racism, the mental illness, all of it very, very well. You touched on that the book hits a lot of hot button topics, especially with things going on in the world now and being splattered all over the news and all over social media. Were you concerned how you, being a white female, was going to be perceived writing a story about racism, about Black people, about the KKK?
I was very worried about it. So, past experiences, I had written about emotional abuse in the Dollhouse Asylum, and that book backfired big time. Like, people really hated it because I had a very meek, submissive character who had to stand up to her love interest, who was very emotionally abusive, her, and that did not work out well. But I've been writing for 13 years now, and I've learned some things about writing a stronger female protagonist that's a lot more relatable. And so I felt like I could do that. But then we are taught in the publishing community that we need to allow people of their own race to represent themselves. And so, like, if you have a book about racism, then allow African Americans to speak up. And I 100% agree with that. We need to have, it's a hashtag own voices is what it's called. And yes, that is 100% right. We need those books. I guess I came at it from the point of view that this is an issue that affects all races, and it's wrong everywhere across the board. And so it shouldn't be a topic that is only addressed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races. This is actually, I wanted to come at it as an educational standpoint, as a white person, to say, this is so wrong. We need to stop. And what are the things we can do to stop the perpetuation of racism, such as, calling out racial slurs and things like that. But as I was, I wrote it and I was sitting on it, what do I do about this? And then that incident with George Floyd happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really blowing up. And it was interesting to me how I saw some friends who were like, yeah, this is wrong. And then I had other friends that didn't say a word. And then I had other friends, I don't know, it was a very divisive time. And it was like, you have to only like the police, or you have to only like, racial equality. And it's like, okay, we can love our police and we can love all people, And so that was a message too that I wanted to share, that let's just stand up for what's right. And let's be good and inclusive of all of our brothers and sisters, no matter their profession and no matter what their race is. And so seeing that, I was like, okay, I want to share this. And then I actually had an intern who was another race. And I was like, okay, will you look at this and tell me, am I handling this okay? And she was fine. And then I had somebody who has gone through some really traumatic things look at it. And I was like, on the mental illness side, what do you think? And she's like, oh yeah, you did a good job. And so I thought, okay, well, I have those people who are representative of those two communities who are supportive of this. And I just wanted to be, and I was so prayerful the whole way through. Every morning I read scriptures and I pray before I sit down to write, work, whatever I do. And always pleading with Heavenly Father, like, please help me to share the right thing, the right message, to use my skills for your good, even though my books are kind of creepy or whatever. The idea is to show that good can triumph over evil in the end.
Well, I definitely think you accomplished all of that in this book. It was an amazing story. And anyone who is just joining us, I have a link over in the comments that will take you to my blog so you can read about the book, also see my review as well as Crystal's, and you can hit the buy button over there as well, and it will take you back to the Monster Ivy page where it lists all of the sales sites available if anyone is interested in picking up that book. You touched on this just a little bit. What do you want readers to come away with when they read this? What message are you hoping that they find in this story?
Yeah, it's one word, it's empathy. Let's have some empathy for those who have gone through these things, those who have experienced racial injustice, and those who have struggled through mental illness. I mean, these are really hard things. And I think sometimes we like to shy away from the hard topics. And then it doesn't provide that opportunity to learn empathy. And we know that there are many, there's been a lot of research done that proves that when you read, you learn empathy for other characters. If you're a boy, you can learn empathy from a girl, for a girl and or different jobs. And so both of these communities, I feel like they're underrepresented, and that they both deserve way more empathy than they are getting.
Do you have a little excerpt you want to share with us tonight?
Sure. Okay, so I thought about first sharing the first pages, but I actually have a narrator who's recording the audiobook right now. And for her sample, she decided to share when we see Gemma and Tansy's interaction for the first time. So that's the two different personalities. So this is the first time you see their interaction.
Okay, I'm gonna minimize me out so it's just you, so you don't see me moving around or distracting you.
Oh, no worries.
So I'll still be back here, but I'm gonna minimize for just a minute.
Okay. Setting out across the room, I bend down to retrieve the book and reshelve it on the imposing bookcase. Tansy screeches inside my head. Having fun playing detective, G? I bump into the desk, which jabs me in the side. I couldn't find you. I followed curfew and got back in plenty of time. Catching sight of myself in a wall mirror, I find the abundant curls Francesca gave me have already wilted to sad, limp waves. I could use some eyeliner and mascara, though. I've got to admit, for the first time in forever, my eyebrows look great. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm starving. Tansy seizes control of our lips and mentally taps me on the shoulder like she's ready to send me to Canada till summertime. But I'm not ready to go just yet. Not after what Ollie said to me. Digging our nails into the book, I square my shoulders. Someone said we belong in the slammer, Tansy. To prove I'm serious, I turn for the mirror to study our pallid face. Must see if her reaction gives anything away. But all I get back is indifferent, soot-colored eyes. Well, what did he mean? Lifting our chin toward the clock in the hall, Tansy coolly says, "Rule number 3." She rolls the R like she's part of the aristocracy. Still, diplomacy just might be my middle name. I know we're not supposed to talk about our history, but he was talking about prison, Tansy. In the mirror, my other half's gaze flickers inside mine. Our lips are slightly chapped, and yes, we still have cartoonishly large eyes, but neither of these facts should detract from the facts that I have a point. Tansy huffs. "You must be speaking of Ollie Joliffe."
Sorry.
That's okay.
I was checking for messages and on the other page because apparently it's hiding messages for me tonight, so I apologize. I was listening though. I appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. We have Kelly Martin with us.
Yay.
She is chiming in on the other page. We also have Mary Eager with us again tonight. And I noticed on my personal page that we do have a couple of new faces watching tonight. So I appreciate some of my local peeps for checking me out tonight. Thank you so much for popping over. If you are new to the show, I do a Fangirl Thursday on Thursday nights. And this week we are talking to Mary Gray about her new release, The Girl at the Hanging Tree. And you just got to hear a little excerpt from that. And I can't say enough fantastic things about this book. I definitely recommend that you go out and one click immediately and read this. It just was such a fantastic story and I loved it. If you guys have any questions for Mary about the this book or any of her other books, go ahead and post those in the comments and we will get those up so she can answer them for you. Looks like we have T.L. Shively with us as well and Jenny Bynum. We have Martina with us and Kim. I appreciate you guys for popping in. Normally on my Be Live app, everything pops up on the screen and I'm able to see it, but of course it's not working properly tonight, so having to pop on here. But I don't want to miss anyone. If you guys have any questions or comments for Mary, go ahead and get those posted there for us. While we're waiting, is there anything new that you're working on? When can we expect something else wonderful from you?
Oh, goodness. You know, I've been really busy with the company, and I wrote 6 young adult, and then this is my first adult book, and then I have an anthology, so I guess that's 8 books. And this is the first time that I've really kind of stopped. I'm stopping for a little bit, catch my breath, and I want to help push our other Monster Ivy authors. They have so many wonderful stories, and believe in them, and so, nope, I'm not working on anything new yet.
For those of you who don't know, Mary is the co-owner of Monster Ivy Publishing. And again, unless you've been under a rock, you guys know that I rave about her her publishing house all the time. I have an entire selection of books back here as well. I absolutely love them. Have not been disappointed with anything that I have read. So if you're not familiar with them, make sure you check them out at Monster Ivy. Is it monsterivy.com? Yeah, monsterivy.com. I couldn't remember if it had publishing on the end or not. I didn't think so. So go ahead and get any questions that you guys have for us posted in the comments. We'll stay on a few more minutes so that we don't miss anyone. You brought up the publishing house. So what's next? What do you got? What's your next big release?
Yeah, so next month we have Dragon Blood by Mary Beasley coming out. It's a young adult fantasy about 2 brothers, which we're really excited about because we've had a lot of female protagonists in our stories. It's amazing. Actually met Mary at a writing conference, Lone Star Writing Inc., a while ago. And she kind of watched us for a little while and then decided to submit. And we loved her book. And then my friend Rich Stores edited that book. And that is going to be a trilogy. And we actually just signed book 2 for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's really good. And then in February, we have Daphne's Questionable Bet, and it's a hilarious YA romantic comedy. I think it's the funniest thing, by Sarah Jo Clough. It's the funniest thing I've ever read from her, maybe ever. It's so funny. I just laughed and laughed. It's so, so good. We'll be gearing up for that cover reveal sometime. It's really fun cover. Cammie, my sister does all the covers, and so super fun. And then Kelly's on here. In March, we have her book, and I don't know that we've announced the name yet, but maybe
I was just gonna say, being that I had you here, that was my next question, was could I put you on the spot and tell me what Kelly was going to be releasing with you next?
Yeah, well, how about Kelly? Can you leave a comment and tell us if you're okay with me saying, or if we can release it?
I really hope she's still here.
She's still here. She's usually super laid back. I don't think she would be mad either way.
She loves me. I'm her best friend. She doesn't know it, but I am.
She's probably gone.
I have been dying to meet her, and I was supposed to at Roanoke in April, and then of course COVID hit, and that didn't happen. And then I thought, okay, well, we'll make it to Once Upon a Book in July, where I was going to meet you as well. That didn't happen. And then I thought, okay, maybe I can, it'll all be okay by October, and I can meet her at Books and Booze. And that's not happening either. But they have announced that she's going to be their keynote speaker. So how awesome is that? Fantastic news for her.
Yeah, so happy for her. She'll be great. Yeah, she does great with anything she does. So she says we can announce it. Okay, so the title, it is...
Kelly said we can announce it.
Yes. So it is a middle grade horror. And remember, the last book that she did was What Rachel Did. And it was so cute, so fun. All my kids read it. They all love it. Oh yeah, pull it out so everybody can see. So good. What Rachel Did. Little spooky ghost story.
So adorable. I know there's a little bit of a glare because of my camera. Oh, there we go. Here.
Yes. So cute.
There. I have been pushing for you guys to get this cover put on a shirt, because I would certainly wear it. I love it. It's just so cute and very Halloween looking.
Yes, we need to do that. That would be adorable. So the book is called Fake Nora. And you and it is, I think it's the scariest thing Kelly has ever written.
Now, and it's middle grade?
It's like, it's so good. And it's so scary, but at the same time, like, I felt fine having my kids read it. And my daughter, she's 12, and the main character, I think, in the book is 12. And I asked my daughter, so was that scary? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, was it too scary? And she's like, no. So, and she's not like, I don't know, fearsome all the time or anything like that. So I felt like she was representative of the market. And so she really enjoyed it. So we're excited about that. And then, we're going to say, yeah.
I was just going to say, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put me down for an advance copy of that one, because, yeah.
Yes, it's so good. And then
I am currently reading Kelly's, I'm on, I think it's book 3 in her let's see. Her Never Kiss the Dead series. I am currently on the 3rd book in this. She did a full-length novel, and then she came out with 3 follow-up novellas to finish out the story. And I'm on the 2nd novella now. And I'm loving that series. So can't wait for more from her.
Oh, yeah.
And she will actually be here on October the 29th to just talk about all of her books, because she's the queen of horror, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
Yes. And I see somebody asks if it's scarier than Trinity Row, what Rachel did, or Fake Nora. You want to pull that up? Yeah. So, in my opinion, yes.
Trinity Row was amazing as well. And the cover is just, I love the cover. And you can't really see very well here. Oh, yeah, you can. You can see the house on the back cover there as well. And there's not a whole lot written here, which just makes it even spookier. And the cover is amazing. And this one is with Monster Ivy Publishing. So Cammie did the cover on this one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean,
and
yeah,
she did the cover for what Rachel did as well. And again, this should be on a shirt.
yes. And we would be lost without Cammie. Oh my goodness. I could never do the covers. So glad we have her. And then in April, we have Harper 2. There may be a longer title on that, but it is so fun. It's such a great like chapter 2 after the first one. And it's so funny because every single person who has read that book, like 5 stars, they love it. Amazing. Can only say just they're blown away. And again, it's that like snarky protagonist. It's a sci-fi thriller and it is so fun. So different from Sarah's.
It's on my list of things to read.
It's so good. I have that right here.
Isn't it so great? We can just turn around and grab things off the shelf.
I know, you're there. And then I'll go to one more. In May, we have the second book of Legend of the Storm Sneezer. And of course, that book is so fun, so miraculous. And the book 2 is Legend of the Rainbow Eater. We've already talked about that title on social media. It's such a fun title. Oh my goodness. So we're just blessed to work with all amazing authors.
Do you have a roundabout date yet when the audiobook for that's coming out?
For Legend of the Storm Sneezer?
Mm-hmm.
I think Christiana's goal is in time for the release of book 2. So see if that can happen.
That everything that comes out of Monster Ivy is such a good read. And even though they're clean reads, they're still very edgy and they're such thrilling books and such fantastic page turners. Even the middle grade books, reading them as an adult, has just, I mean, they're all so good. Legend of the Storm Sneezer is just so cute. And it kind of got me started with the red umbrella that and some there it is. Some artwork that Jody Brooks Stone did as well kind of got me started on the whole path of the red umbrella thing. So I've got red umbrellas all over my office now, and so I'm very pleased to have had all that incorporated in. So
that's awesome.
Let's see if we have any questions. I don't want to miss anyone, so if you guys have any questions, go ahead and get those posted up. Oh, hi, Betsy. Thank you for joining us. For anyone who is wanting to order any signed books direct from you, can they reach out to you on your Facebook page? And do you have anything available that they can get right now? Do you have any inventory?
You know, I tend to give away books pretty fast, and so I am out right now, but I can order some. If anybody wants some personalized copies, I can order some and then sign them and then mail them out. I can do that if anybody's interested.
Let's see. If something paranormal and similar to Supernatural, the series, is your idea of a good book, then I highly recommend you guys also check out Hush Now Forget. It is the Sisters of Blood Creek series, and it's from Mary and her sister, Cammie, and it's a trilogy. And the covers are gorgeous. And I highly recommend you guys check those out as well.
Thank you. Yeah, those were super fun to write. It was really hard to write a book by myself after writing with Cami.
There we go. Mary, did you share the book with your son when you read it, or did you just read it for yourself? I'm curious. She has a toddler, so I don't know if he sat still long enough, but I'm curious. Let's see. Hopefully she's still out there and she will pop in and ask. Alice was wondering if you had any signed swag or anything.
Yeah, I have some character art and some bookmarks, so I could send some of those to your way, Alice, if you want. You can just message me your address and I can send those to you.
Look at there.
Yeah, I can send it to anybody. Anybody, message me and I can send you some.
I have some character art. Let's see.
Yeah, I had commissioned some character art of Gemma and her special.
And I have it. It's
over you're not sure where it is.
So I didn't readily have it available. But also from Monster Ivy Publishing is Good Girl Stay Quiet from Joe Cassidy. And again, that was something out of my normal read. And oh my gosh, so good. But this is the character art from that. And I think it's so cool that when the book's released that they have those with it. And I think, let's see, there was one for Trinity as well. There we go. These are all so cool looking. Love them. And then this one was really cool for what Rachel did. It's the stairs, and in the book, a lot of things happen in the attic, so that was super cool. And this particular book, check that out. How pretty is that, guys? Oh my gosh. So pretty. I love it when authors and publishers go the extra mile and put those added details in the print copies. It just adds that little extra pop and, just makes them stand out a little bit more. And as a reader, it makes me want to have that on my shelf. I want to have that pretty.
Oh, good. Yeah, for The Girl at the Hanging Tree, we had done character art of Gemma, the main character, and then her special guy. And I had said that if somebody pre-ordered the book, then I would send them the art. And so that's why you have, because you were awesome and pre-ordered. And so yeah, I have more character art. If anybody wants them, I can mail it to you.
And that reminds me, I need to post my review to Amazon on that as well. It looks like Kelly is still with us, and she is currently reading Willow Marsh from Joe Cassidy, and I have that one too.
Yes, that book is gorgeous.
And this one, this one was such a good book too. Like I said, everything is. They're all just so good, and it's so rare that you find one publisher or one group like that where you just know that whatever is coming out from them, you need to pre-order. You need to one click because everything is just so amazingly good. And I don't think I finished my thought when I was saying this earlier. They're clean stories to read, but at the same time, you get that angst, you get that thrilling edge of your seat with it. All of that's there, whether it's YA or NA, whether it's paranormal or not. And it just goes to show you that you don't need all of that other stuff for an amazing story.
Oh, I agree. I feel like in some ways, you know, if you load up a book with sex or profanity, it's almost a cheat. It's like obviously it catches people's attention and it's a hook, but what does it do to us inside? You know, what are we feeding our spirits? And so to think about what we would feel okay about, you know, going to Jesus with after we die and the things that we spend our time consuming. And I believe in trying to better ourselves, and we can better ourselves with exciting stories that address really important topics. You know, how to face your fear, you know, play with her horror. It's, you know, some people might, oh, I don't read horror or whatever. Well, it's actually about, you know, beating those scary bad guys and being brave, you know. Um, so that's why I'm just so passionate about every book that we publish in our company. It's because it is about good defeating evil and not feeling kind of, you know, gross on the inside when you're going through the book.
Yeah, Mary said that she agrees. If you have to throw all that kind of stuff in, she always wonders whether you're trying to sell your story or sell that other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's sad, you know, things going on with a lot of movies, and if you want to, you know, stream shows, it's really hard to find clean stuff. And and books, it's always a gamble, you know, when you
Mhm.
pick something up, you don't know what's going to be in it, and checking what your kids are reading. And so we've been really careful about content, with everything that we receive with our manuscripts, you know, and yet being true to life, and to not just paint stories with rainbows and sunshine, because that's not the reality for us. So that's the goal.
Well, I appreciate you being here so much tonight. It was always such a pleasure to have you here to talk to you. I can't wait till we can finally meet in person, and then I can call you my best friend too.
Good.
You and Kelly, y'all just know it. I'm going to close out with popping up a little promo that I made, and I want you guys to take a look at the bridge that is in this promo, because it is a picture of the Goatman's Bridge that is talked about in the book. So I'm going to tell you guys good night and pop that up on the screen. Again, Mary, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun.
Have a good night.
You too.